Hello everyone, and welcome to the American Cafe Columbia Classic Grand Prix. I'm Jay Aaron. Along with Oliver Kennedy, we will be calling the action this afternoon as 27 horses and riders compete for over $30,000 in prize money. Oliver, what can our viewers at home expect to see?
Well, we have a varied field of horses and riders. Three-time Olympic veteran British rider Tim Grubb heads the field. As well, we have Margie Goldstein, the National Grand Prix League's Eastern Conference Rider of the Year for 1991, and Henri Prudhomme and Peter Wild. Don't forget those two riders, along with a varied list of riders making their first starts today.
It's a beautiful afternoon here in Columbia, Maryland. We'll meet the man who designed this very difficult course right after this.
The American Cafe Columbia Classic Grand Prix is brought to you by the American Cafe Restaurants, with locations throughout the Baltimore, Washington metropolitan area, and by Blockbuster Video, America's family video store. Merrill Lynch, we're bullish on Columbia. Actuarial Science Associates, employee benefit consultants to national and international clientele. Coca-Cola, Coke, you can't beat the real thing. Kidder Peabody, talent, discipline, and perfect timing. These are qualities we appreciate. Anderson Consulting Company, a balanced, realistic approach that puts fear where it belongs, in your competition. And by Rolex Watch USA and their local Rolex dealer, Edward Arthur Jewelers.
Welcome back to the American Cafe Columbia Classic Grand Prix. Oliver Kennedy had a chance to talk with world-renowned course designer Blair Williams.
Where do you foresee the trouble spots might lie in the course?
I think the vertical, which is the B element of the triple combination, that'll be difficult to jump because it's going downhill, and probably most riders will overjump the oxer going into the combination, and they'll have that vertical down. And also the vertical going into the other combination, the in and out, for the same reason, it's going downhill, and they'll probably override it slightly.
So you see the two combinations you feel will be the two trouble spots today in the course?
Yes, and the number 8 fence, it's going uphill, and because of the hill, it'll become much higher than it actually is.
One last question. What's your guess on the jump-off number?
I think 6 or 7, but I'm going to be proved wrong on that.
Our course designer Blair Williams says 6 or 7 clean. We'll send it back up to you, Jay.
And starting things off is Ian Silich of Sperryville, Virginia, riding the horse For All You're Worth.
For All You're Worth is a younger mount for Ian. It's been brought up in the preliminary jumper division, moved up into the open division, has been doing some mini Prix and small Grand Prix towards the end of the summer. You see, this event is something a little different. The horse doesn't get a chance to get in the ring, and you see the horse there spooking away from the crowd. The crowd's right up close to you, and this makes a little bit of a problem. This is going to take the horse's mind off his job a little bit as he takes a look at the various things around the field here.
Well, you can see right there as the horse spooks a little bit. Coming now to the second jump, the Coca-Cola Oxer.
Coming up along the Grand Prix tent here, fence number 3 has a little bit of a tunnel effect. We see the block coming off there. That's a score of 4 faults for the knockdown.
Heading downhill now to the Liverpool Oxer. Oh! Wow, what a wreck.
Amazing, the horse stayed on his feet. Having a little trouble there regrouping as he heads to the double combination and bringing the rail down there. As well with the stop, let's take a look here at the replay. Coming downhill, that fence is going to ride a little wider and higher than it looks. The horse never really has a shot to get across and does an amazing job just staying on his feet.
And now we continue down to the combination.
Horse not having a lot of time to regroup, and he heads down, just never really has a shot to get across the Kidder Peabody fence.
And then obviously the refusal, that's 3 faults, now working with 11 as we come back live. Jumping into the combination, a different look.
And he must reattempt the entire combination as he comes through. The rail coming down on the back on the way out.
And he loses his stirrup. For now, he's sitting at 15 faults.
And it looks like he's just going to save it for another day and voluntarily withdraw.
And the neat thing about that is the rider can say, hey, I've had enough. That's no more for me. I'll try it again some other time.
The young horse trying to save it a little bit with the learning experience, not wanting to push him too far, so he decides just to hang it up.
Margie Goldstein next to compete on the horse Lincea.
Margie's a very successful rider. Last year she was the National Grand Prix League's Eastern Conference Rider of the Year. She had a little setback earlier in the year when her Olympic horse had a problem and she was unable to compete in the Olympic trials. And she's competing with a string of younger horses this year. She's won 2 events aboard Lincea. Horse is jumping quite well. Margie, a very competitive rider, very exciting rider to watch show.
We do have a few riders in this competition today, for those of you at home, that really can fly if they get into this jump-off portion. But they do have to qualify first, and they've got to go clear in this first round. The horse is jumping beautifully now.
Well, she's taking a pass here by the tent area, coming away from the in-gate as she heads now towards the general admission area. Large crowd on hand today for our class.
Oliver, these jumps look gigantic. How tall are they?
Jumps range from 4'3" to 5 feet in height out there today and spreads up to about 6 feet.
Wow. There's a beautiful crowd out there. A beautiful sunshiny day here in Columbia, Maryland. Down to the triple combination. You see that first portion come down, that's 4 faults, and that's what she's working with now, 4 faults.
Right now that's our best score to date as she heads to the last fence, the American Cafe spread fence.
And she's clear with just a rub there. 4 is the score for Margie Goldstein and Lincea.
And right now that's going to take the lead in our American Cafe Columbia Classic.
British equestrian team member Tim Grubb aboard Funny Face will be next to compete over this demanding Grand Prix course.
Funny Face is a younger horse making just a few Grand Prix starts. Andrea Fuelhard Schultz has been the rider of the horse as the owner. She's shown it in the amateur jumper divisions. Tim, a 3-time Olympic veteran for his home country of Great Britain, riding with the block down there in the wall, 4 faults at this point.
You can see Tim has a very upright style as he's clear over that Liverpool oxer. Gave Ian Silich so much trouble. And that big double combination, the first on the course.
As we said earlier, there's a lot to look at for these younger horses that aren't used to big crowds, and this is one of the larger crowds they'll see on the tour throughout the year. And the crowd is set very close to the ring, and that sometimes will pose a little bit of a problem for our horses as they spend a little time looking at the crowd and not paying as much attention to the jumps.
It has to be a plus, though, for this combination to have such experience aboard this young horse.
It's almost like trying to get Magic Johnson on your team here as a rider. Brings a little bit more experience in.
You see another 4 faults there in the triple combination, heading over that beautiful sail jump. The colors in these jumps are just absolutely magnificent. Down home now to the American Cafe, Square Oxer. 8 faults for veteran Tim Grubb and Funny Face. Lisa Tarnopol now on Anjali. Lisa, a veteran of United States Equestrian Team efforts and formerly sponsored by the Revlon Corporation, one of the first to be sponsored corporately.
Lisa is now an executive with the American Horse Shows Association, and last week in competition in Boston finished second with Anjali in the $25,000 Ritz-Carlton Grand Prix. An early block off the wall there, carrying 4 faults at this point as she heads to fence 4.
Why is it that we're having so much trouble with that wall, Oliver?
It has a little bit of a tunnel effect, and it's heading right into the crowd. It's a little different type fence the horses aren't used to seeing, and a little bit of a look into the crowd, the blocks just come off very easily.
And as while Oliver was explaining that wall, we saw another 4 faults in the double combination. She's now working with 8 faults and clear over that plank oxer. That's very large, and another big vertical.
This is a younger mount for Lisa. She's been bringing it along slowly this past couple of years. She retired her famous mount Adam last year at the Hampton Classic, and she's been bringing on a string of younger horses in the competition so far this year.
And now we head down that triple combination. Big trouble there. She's just lucky to get out with 4 faults again. Coming right into your set there, and 4 faults again for Lisa Tarnopol. So not a good day for her with her young horse. And she's clear over the final jump. She's going to have 16 faults, 4 rails come down. You're looking at Lori Jakubaskas aboard her horse, Locked and Loaded.
Lori made her Grand Prix debut last year here at this very event, and It wasn't an exciting one. She had to voluntarily withdraw. Had a year to get some more experience on the Grand Prix Tour. Horse jumping very well today.
Well, she's the first to really not have a problem at that brick wall. Down now to that tricky Liverpool and way up and over that, now heading to the double combination. Trying to get her horse back.
See, this horse has kind of a different jumping style than the horses we've seen so far. He's very loose and free with his legs.
I love that shot coming right into your living rooms at home there, folks. Making the wide turn. Is she going to have a problem with her time?
The horse is kind of going a little fast. She's taking more time on the turns, but in between the jumps, she's not really pulling back and adding the stride. She's going forward there. The horse is jumping very well to this point, hasn't even had a rub.
There is a time allowed now, so don't forget about that. If they exceed that time allowed, they're assessed 1/4 time fault for each second over the time allowed. Really stretched out there.
So at this point, we're coming home with no faults.
Could she be our first clear to go in the American Cafe Columbia Classic? Yes, she is. First to go clear. Break the ice.
Well, right now, that's our class leader.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Your first clear, Lori Jakubowskis, and Locked and Loaded. Can anybody else do it? Will we have a jump off?
A great turnaround from her performance last year.
Mark Leone from Franklin Lakes, New Jersey, next to compete on his mount, Crown Royal Costello.
As here by the surname, he's sponsored by Crown Royal along with his brothers Peter and Armin. They comprise Team Crown Royal. The three Leone brothers have represented the United States. They're the only three-brother combination ever to represent the United States in Nations Cup competition as a team.
Boy, he got deep there at that wall.
This Irish-bred horse, you see, is a little heavier and thicker than the others. The Irish-breds have a little bit of the draft breed in them.
Down now to the double combination. Been trouble. No trouble at all for Costello. Crown Royal Costello, that is. And Mark Leone.
That's a very seasoned horse. He's 16 years old, has been competing on the tour for numerous years with Mark. They've been quite successful, winning classes throughout the United States and as well in Canada.
As he just jumped the Merrill Lynch jump, now heading around and clear over that vertical. They'll now make the big left-hand turn as they tackle probably the toughest portion of the course, the triple combination.
The triple combination is the sure power test of the horse, comes late in the course. We see them getting a little bit tired.
That was very easy for Crown Royal Costello, and now they're working their way down to the final jump. And just a little rub behind, 4 faults. Oh, that's too bad.
But taking a look, quite unfortunate as they come to our final fence on the course, just catching it with a light rub with the hind legs, and the luck is not with Mark today as he gets the 4 faults right now. He's going to go into second place, tied with Margie Goldstein.
I really thought we had our second clear, but no, not to be.
And we'll also be breaking those ties for the placings for those tied for other than first place by their first round times. So Mark would be placing at this point in third place.
Hi, this is Brooks Robinson, and I'm having a great time today. This is getting a little culture. I think that's the word I like to use, but I'm enjoying myself, and this is the first festivities that I've been to like this, and it's great. It's a great way to raise money. We got a beautiful day, and I can't think of anything else except maybe if the Orioles win a game, then it'd be a perfect day.
Hailing from Cazenovia, New York, here is Beezy Patton aboard her mount, Kokomo.
We had a chance earlier today to talk with Beezy Patton about some of the factors that are quite unique to the American Cafe Columbia Classic.
There's a lot of other factors here that contribute to the difficulty, which is it's on a hill in a lot of places, and it's the first time walking into this ring for every horse in the class, and that's always very difficult, especially with inexperienced horses.
But there is no inexperience in Beezy Patton. Once again, she is also a former United States equestrian team member, and she's making this look like it's nothing but a walk in the park.
She is one of 16 riders to make it to the final portion of the selection trials for the Barcelona Games. Kokomo is a younger mount for Beezy. She is shown in a few Grand Prix competitions throughout the year. Spent most of the summer competing in the intermediate jumper division, and there at Merrill Lynch she has a rail down, carrying 4 faults at this point.
And now they get to breathe just for a short moment as they come down to the power portion. The triple combination, big wide oxer to a very upright vertical, and then a square oxer, the most difficult thing for a horse to jump.
As she was talking about the hill and the terrain, that entire triple combination is heading downhill and comes very quickly to you.
So 4 is the score. One of those that just has 1 rail down is Beezy Patton and Kokomo. Making the trek down from Massachusetts, here is Tricia O'Connor and her ride today, Marmaduke.
Tricia, a junior rider, one of 2 riders in our competition today riding as junior competitors.
And you can see she's heading to the first jump, and that comes down. What's that like when you have the first jump down?
Well, now you're going to have to pick up the pace a little bit if you're going to try and be in the ribbons, or you can take it and go as a learning experience. And we see Tricia, she's had the refusal there at fence number 3, so already racked up 7 faults to this point.
Not the way you want to start out on this big course. Now, as being a junior exhibitor, taking on the challenge of this bigger, gigantic Grand Prix course, more challenging for her?
She's only 18 years of age. She's been very successful in the junior ranks, but now she's coming up to play with the big boys, running against the Olympic veterans, as well as numerous other seasoned competitors, and another rail there at the sailboats, as well at the Kidder Peabody fence. So carrying 15 faults, another rail drops at the Rolex jump, jumping it up to 19 to this point.
So really what we have here is an inexperienced combination, maybe a little worried about how big these jumps are. Maybe this is the first attempt over this size. Clear at the Merrill Lynch. Maybe she can get it together now and finish up on a good note.
Well, now she's just going to have to use the class as a learning experience. Taking a step into the Grand Prix ranks, a number of riders here today are making their early appearances in Grand Prix competitions.
The triple combination been very difficult. She has the vertical down in the middle.
So up to 23 faults at this point as she heads to the last fence.
And the last fence, of course, our sponsor for this event, the American Cafe Square Oxer, 23 jumping faults, and she kind of plotted around with 1 1/4 time faults for 24 1/4 is her total score. Not a great day, but something to build on. Adding international flavor to our competition today is Henri Prudent, based now in Middleburg, Virginia, riding this beautiful brown horse, Caprice.
Henri has been a veteran of numerous international competitions, has ridden in the 3-day World Championships as well in the European Championships, and has represented his home nation of France on numerous occasions in international competition.
And married to, of course, Katie Monahan Prudent, well known in the show jumping circles, obviously handing over the reins today to husband Henri.
The 1-2 punch from the Plain Bay Farm in Middleburg, Virginia, heads down to the Kidder Peabody combination.
That's kind of an interesting view, kind of looking back against them as he makes the turn now. I think we've got some not triple combination, but we have a triple version of verticals coming up here. They're not necessarily in combination, just in a row. There's that first plank, now down to the Merrill Lynch. Got a little tight there and had a hard rub. Let's see what it does now. And clear over that vertical. Now they get to rest that just a short moment as the power portion comes down. What's that look like when you're riding down there, Oliver?
Well, you come clean so far. You're heading down the hill to a big oxer to the vertical. And oh, a hard rub front and behind, dropping down an unfortunate 4 for Caprice and Henri Prudent as they head to the American Cafe fence, our last fence on the course.
And he catches that down for another 4. So 8 is the score for Frenchman Henri Prudent, adding international flavor here in our Grand Prix today. 8 is the score. A short drive just 40 minutes away is where Lynn Little sets up camp with her horse Isis. Frederick, Maryland is where she hails from.
Well, we had a chance to talk with Lynn. She hasn't been showing much this year, so we asked her what she's been doing and what she thinks her chances are today with her horse Isis.
She's a little nervous. She hasn't shown that much this year, but she's very, very careful and she's very brave and she could be real good today. I hope she is.
Thus part, she's clean over fence number 3 as she comes to our sailboats at fence 4, again heading downhill with the Liverpool.
And we need somebody to go clear. We've got just that one mount locked and loaded. Lori Jakubowskis is clear, no faults, and we need somebody to go in this jump-off.
So right now we have one lady qualified, and Lynn and Isis are jumping quite well. As she said, the horse is very careful. You see jumping way up over our fences today.
And now to that Merrill Lynch vertical. Boy, that thing's tall. A little bit of a bump there. Maybe that'll help her now the rest of the way. Lynn, definitely a lot of experience. I've seen her over the years. I don't want to date myself, but this gal's been around. And she is tiny, just like her name.
One of the smaller riders on the tour. She comes now clean into the triple combination, way up over 10C.
2 jumps away from our possible second clear. Can she make it over that American Cafe square oxer? Very difficult. And yes, she is clear. We will have a jump off.
Our leading ladies is Lori Jakubowskis and Lynn Little at this point have qualified for the jump off.
Kim Wickenden from Pennington, New Jersey, riding the horse Morwatha, an amateur rider.
One of our riders today moving up to the Grand Prix ranks with Morwatha. She was quite successful throughout the tour this year in the amateur jumper section. She's moving up today to the Grand Prix ranks, making one of her first Grand Prix starts. She jumps the blockbuster fence in quite good form.
Has a very classic upright style, much like British equestrian team member Tim Grubb.
Well, Kim trains with the American Olympic contingency, the gold medalists Joe Fargus and Conrad Holmfeld.
Now down to that tricky Liverpool. She went to the stick there.
Horse is looking like he's getting away from her just a little bit. She's jumping into the double combination, and she's coming down to the Rolex fence. Oh, and a stop there will give her 3 faults.
Let's look at the replay.
She heads down to the Rolex fence. The horse getting just a little bit long, a little too far for the distance to take off, and the horse just says, no way, not today.
Did that Liverpool have any effect on that?
Horse tends to peek and look at the water obstacles like that, and when you get long and the horse is looking, it just takes a little bit more attention off of the horse's fence, and they can't take off from that long a distance.
And now to those very tall vertical jumps. 3 of those in a row. Testing the ability to get up and over, really the leaping ability.
And she's up and over the Anderson Consulting fence now as she comes to the power portion of the course. This will be a test for our amateur rider. She's up good through B, and now coming out over the C element. She's carrying the 3 faults at this point home. If she can make it in within the time allowed, she'll have a good spot in the ribbons.
And she is carrying 3 plus the time faults. Kim Wickenden has 3 1/2 faults. 3 1/2 faults.
Right now, that's going to place her in 3rd place, a very good placing for an amateur rider in a field of such good competitors.
I think it's a fantastic day, good turnout, wonderful weather, and a great opportunity to participate in a wonderful community cause to help those that have not been as lucky as all of us.
'92 Olympic rider for the British equestrian team is Tim Grubb from White House Station, New Jersey, aboard his mount Ever.
Now, Tim, being an Olympic veteran, would have to be one of our favorites in the field today. We had a chance earlier this afternoon to talk with Tim about favorites in Grand Prix competition and how that might play with him today.
There isn't really any favorite any given day. I mean, you know, it's not like Nigel Mansell, who has absolutely the best car in the world and nobody can beat him at the moment. Every Grand Prix competition is totally different, and today, whether 30-something starters, you know, any one of 20 odd people could win the class today. Hope it's me.
Well, I hope it's you too, Tim, as he canters around this like it's nothing but easy. Just tons of experience on this rider. Just numerous occasions, many times a Grand Prix winner in the United States and also in Europe.
He was on the 4th place team in competition earlier this year. He just got back from Spruce Meadows, where he was a member of the British team out in Calgary in Canada. They were the winning team in the Nations Cup competition there.
Well, Tim taking Ever, and no problem so far for this combination. that experience has to play into his hand as he goes now into that very difficult power portion, the big crowd on hand today.
Tim's clean jumping here through the power phase. Could he be the third player in the jump off and our first gentleman to enter our field at this point, with two leading ladies that have qualified for the jump off?
The final jump, is he clear? Yes, he is. Tim Grubb and Ever qualify for the jump off. 3 now to return in our speed portion, and that's exciting. Kim Williams of Marriottsville, Maryland, aboard the beautiful mare, Karina.
Well, Kim, a former champion in this event. She was the winner in 1989 aboard this very horse. She comes down over the Blockbuster video fence number 1. We had a chance earlier today to talk to Kim about the fact that she's a defending champion and showing in front of a hometown crowd.
It's nice to meet up with the riders, from out of state in my hometown. Feel a little bit of pressure with the family here, but hopefully it'll turn out to be a good day.
Well, so far not a good day for Kim Williams and Karina, already encompassing 8 faults as they go down now to the first combination, and they're clear there. Right into your home now with 8 faults is Kim Williams and Karina.
So a little bit of pressure again. She has her full family as well as all of her students sitting out in the stands watching her.
A different look at those big, gigantic verticals now over that Merrill Lynch, and that comes down. 3 jumps down, 12 faults so far.
Now down to Anderson Consulting, and that comes down as well, so we're up to 16 faults with the 4 rails down at this point.
This horse is usually tidier. What's the problem?
We've seen Kim be quite successful on this horse, but as Tim Grubb said, on any given day it can be any given horse, and it's just not Kim's day today.
Heading down now to the final jump, 16 faults incurred so far, and down to the American Cafe jump, and that comes down to an unfortunate 20 faults for Kim Williams and Karina.
You're watching world-class show jumping riders today. They're competing for top dollars in prize money, but as well helping us for a special cause, the Howard Community College Educational Foundation.
Like Aristotle, we believe the fate of our community lies in our ability to educate all who wish to learn. We are the Howard Community College Educational Foundation, and through fundraising efforts like the Columbia Classic Grand Prix, we provide the school endowment, allowing for the construction of everything from state-of-the-art classroom, library, and lab facilities to activities that round out the complete individual. But even more importantly, the money we raise helps provide scholarships so that no one in Howard County will ever miss out on a college education simply because they can't afford one. And when you really look into it, that's pretty important to a community.
If I didn't have financial aid, I wouldn't be going anywhere right now. I find myself that I've just basically decided that I had to go to college to get a 4-year degree to get anywhere in the world right now.
Howard Community College, from what I know from my past experience with people that have already been here, it's come a long way. The improvements that they're making is great. The teaching is great. And the teachers work with you. So, I'd recommend it to anybody.
Frenchman Henri Prudent is next to go in our Grand Prix this afternoon, riding his horse Barcelona. Henri now resides in Middleburg, Virginia.
Barcelona is a horse that Katie and Henri had picked up earlier on, and they've had it for quite some time, brought it up from just a young horse, started showing it in the Prix Green Hunter division, which is just an introduction to jumping fences. And you notice it's wearing a fly bonnet, the white contraption covering the ears.
What's that for?
Used to keep the flies out. It also acts as a little bit of a muffle for the ears so they don't hear all the crowd noise and the distractions that a young horse helps him keep the horse's mind on his job at hand.
So far jumping very easily around this course, and I understand this is an American thoroughbred.
Yes, it's one of just a few American thoroughbreds in our field today. And surprisingly, Henri, a Frenchman riding the American Thoroughbred, but that is what is Katie's horse of choice. His wife, Katie Monahan Prudent, was a very successful Grand Prix rider in her own right.
I don't believe this horse has even touched a jump so far. They now head to that very tall vertical, the Anderson Consulting. Now the breathing, momentary breathing, as they come into the power portion. Henri winding up, getting set,
Jumping clean all the way here to B and has it down with the front legs. Unfortunately, the 4 faults there for Henri Prudhomme in Barcelona as they head to the final fence on the course.
And 4 is the score for Barcelona and Henri Prudhomme.
We'll take another look now as they jump into our triple combination. Up and getting just a little bit too close, a little too deep, catches it right with the knees on the front leg, pulling down the top rail of the B element of the triple combination.
So the score is 4 faults for Henri Prudhomme. A nice little pat on the flank there. Obviously satisfied with his round today. Representing Southern Pines, North Carolina, here is Marianne Stiert aboard her ride today, Talisman du Bohème.
The Talisman du Bohème and Marianne presently are in 7th place in the National Grand Prix League standings. They're trying to up their ante here today. If they can be in the top 3 in the standings, they'll earn a right to compete in the Super Prix, which will be held during the Washington International Horse Show at the end of October.
She seems to be running at the jumps a little bit more. Does this horse have a shorter stride possibly than the others?
She likes to take this one at a little bit of a quicker pace and take him right down to the base, the bottom of the fence. He's got a big spring there on his hind end, and he jumps in quite good form over these fences.
There's our first combination of jumps, and so far she's not having any problems at all.
She is going at quite a quick pace today, and much quicker than most of the riders we have seen. As she comes now to the spread fence, the oxer there with the Gucci stripe rails, and up and over the Merrill Lynch fence. A bit of a hard rub there, but that might work to her advantage in sharpening up Talisman du Bohème.
Sure jumped that well. Now that little break, whoop, a little unhappiness there as she spurs it on to head for that power portion. Probably the 3 toughest jumps on the course.
There's up and over 10A, good at B, and she's clean through C.
Just 2 jumps, and Marianne could be the 4th to compete without a fault in our first round here of our American Cafe Columbia Classic Grand Prix. And yes, she is. 4 now in our jump off. 3 women and a man. Marianne Stiert is next to qualify. Our final competitor now in the first round. Here is Peter Wild from Medfield, Massachusetts, aboard his ride, Tootsie.
Peter, hailing from Medfield, Massachusetts, just outside of Boston, had a long drive on his way here, and we talked to Peter about how that might play in his competition today.
It's a long drive, but it's a nice size Grand Prix, and it was sort of worth coming for the competition. It's supposed to be a very nice event. I haven't been here before, but I'm looking forward to it this year.
Peter jumping quite well. He's clean to fence number 4 at this point. Tootsie has been a very consistent competitor with 2 top second place finishings on the tour thus far this year.
Well, Peter sure looks like a stylish type rider to me.
He was one of the equitation finals winners in 1982, was the winner of the ASPCA Maclay finals at the National Horse Show in Madison Square Garden in New York City.
A little rub there. Now heading to that big vertical, the Anderson Consulting vertical. And not a problem there. The respite, the good look at the big, gigantic power portion triple combination. He runs right at it.
You see, he doesn't waste much time on the course. He takes tight turns back. This is a very fast horse, covers a lot of ground. It doesn't spend a lot of time in the air.
And down to the final jump now, the American Cafe, very long there, but he's clear. 5 now will compete in our jump off. 5 competitors to come back for speed and first place money.
This should be very exciting jump off, as Tootsie and Peter Wild are one of the fastest horse and rider combinations on the tour today.
Welcome back to the $30,000 American Cafe Columbia Classic Grand Prix. 5 original starters return to go over a shortened course. Oliver, explain it for us.
Well, we have again 5 that'll be returning. We've moved out some of the fences here at a shortened course, giving them just a little bit more room in which to rev it up. The speed is now a very important factor in our course. We'll take a look at our course now. They'll start things off over fence number 1, the Blockbuster video fence, and a gallop up to fence 2 by the VIP tent, the Coca-Cola jump. Taking a hard sweeping left turn back to 5A as we start with a series of vertical fences in the jump off. 5A, the Kidder Peabody fence, a right-hand turn back to Merrill Lynch fence number 8, right in front of the crowd. A gallop on to fence number 9, a sweeping right turn to the Anderson Consulting fence. They'll take a hard left turn as they come back to fences 10, B, and C, the second and third elements of the triple combination. Fences sponsored by Actuarial Sciences, and a right-hand turn with a long gallop back to the wide American Cafe Oxer. Scoring in the jump-off round is 4 faults for a knockdown of a jump, 3 faults for the first refusal, 6 additional faults for the second refusal, and elimination for the third. If the horse or rider fall during their round, they'll receive no score. For each second over the time allowed, 1 time fault will be assessed.
First to go in our exciting Grand Prix jump-off, here is Lori Jacobascus aboard her ride, Locked and Loaded. First to qualify in the jump-off, and here she is going for speed. You see the clock in the upper left-hand corner. That will be her running time. This competition now, this portion of the competition, has to do with who can be the fastest and leave all the jumps up.
Again, time, as Jay just said, is a very important factor. You see Lori revving it up just a little bit more as she heads down to the Kidder Peabody fence.
Cut that at a very severe angle. You notice the pace is much quicker. Another big vertical. Boy, he's really testing him this afternoon.
Heads up to the Arthur Anderson vertical now, and they're going to have a hard left-hand turn as they make a long gallop to 10A, B, and C, the second and third elements of the double combination. Up over the vertical, over the Actuarial Sciences fence, and now a gallop home as they head over the final fence, the American Cafe Oxer.
And yes, she's clear. 49.5 as the clock stops. A clear go. She's setting the standard for everybody to beat.
What a difference a year makes. Last year she had to voluntarily withdraw, and right now she's our class leader with 4 more to go in our time jump-off event.
Lynn Little returns now to challenge in this exciting jump-off aboard her mount, Isis. She's very fast. I've seen her in the past. There's that clock again. Watch it at home.
49.5 is the target time to catch. Up and over the Coca-Cola fence, and she's opening it up here as she heads across the ring to the Kidder Peabody vertical.
She looks faster to me than Lori.
A better turn back here as she heads to the Merrill Lynch fence.
And a little rub there. That should help her as she goes onward now. A little check. And clear.
Hard left-hand turn, and we got to go through the combination at this speed. You have to be very careful on your way back through there.
And she's racing home now to that American Cafe. She's kicking in gear. Look at the concentration on her face. Can she beat the time? The longs jump 44.3. She takes the lead. Lynn Little and Isis.
The local Maryland rider now up in the lead. Lynn Little with the time of 44.3, knocking off more than 5 seconds off of Lori's time.
Tim Grubb knows what he has to do. He has to go clean and be faster than Lynn Little. He's aboard his Mount Ever.
British Olympic veteran, this has to be our favorite at this point. The time he must catch is 44.3 as he winds things up here with Ever, up and over the Blockbuster Video fence.
Sometimes I've noticed Tim, he seems like he's going slower than everybody else, but his turns are so much tighter. There he moves it in gear.
It's amazing how much time you can save if you've got the good turns. You don't have to run as fast. He takes a great turn there back after the Kidder Peabody fence.
Wasting no steps whatsoever as he runs now to that big, tall vertical, that Anderson Consulting. A sharper turn than everybody else. Can he beat the time?
This horse has a very, very long stride. He looks like he's going a lot slower than he is, but Tim's really opening it up now as he clears the Actuarial Sciences fence. He's coming home over the American Cafe jump.
And he beats the time. 42 flat is the time. Tim Grubb, they just keep getting faster.
Shaving more than 2 seconds off of Lynn Little's time now. We're really picking up the pace the further we go into this jump off.
Marianne Stired aboard her horse, Talisman du Bohème. She's one of the fastest I've ever seen when she's in the jump off.
She's really opening it up here coming to the Blockbuster Video fence as she takes a quick cut back here to the Coca-Cola fence.
Look at how much faster she's moving than Tim Grubb. But is she going faster? That's the question.
Marianne's really opening up the stride. We're going to the series of verticals now, and that's going to play a factor as the horse flattens out, and there you see it. She has the 4 faults.
So sometimes if you go too fast, you can get in trouble.
Yes, speed can get out of hand a little bit. Now she's taking the horse back a little bit as she heads to the actuarial sciences combination here.
Right into your living rooms. 1 jump remaining with 4 faults. Marianne Steyert, and she will have 4, and a quick time, however, of 42.2.
We'll take a look at the replay as she jumped in, took that speed. The horse flattens out and catches it with the front end. Not a chance to leave that up. Unfortunate 4 faults in 42.2 seconds right now. That's good enough for 4th place.
The man in the driver's seat, Peter Wild, aboard his mount Tootsie.
As I said at the conclusion of our first round competition, this is one of the fastest horse and rider combinations on the tour. If they leave them all up, they should be our winners. Time they have to beat is 42 seconds flat.
And he's moving quite quickly. Peter, not only a stylist, but knows how to make these horses move across the ground. A great turn coming into this big vertical. Look at that.
Shaves it back now. He's got to steady the horse so he can get back over this Merrill Lynch fence. Through the series of verticals now coming up.
Oh, he got the good chip there. The horse, what a great turn.
A great turn coming back now to the actuarial sciences combination.
Way up and over that. Kicks it in high gear. 1 right-hand turn and 1 big square oxer ahead. Can he do it? Yes, there's your winner. What a quick time, 41 seconds.
Peter Wild and Tootsie, as I said, one of the fastest horse and rider combinations on the tour. A fine performance from a rider from Medfield, Massachusetts.
A very happy Peter Wild petting his horse, a big smile, and a big paycheck.
That's the first major win for Peter Wild in his career. He shaved a full second off of Tim Grubb and Evers' 2nd place time.
Welcome back to the $30,000 American Cafe Columbia Classic Grand Prix. Oliver Kennedy is down on the field and now has a word with our winner, Peter Wild.
First of all, congratulations, Peter. You went 34th in the first round, and you had to watch so many riders go, and the cleans weren't coming. It had to play a little bit of a problem with you.
When I walked the course, the last class that I did was in Southampton, New York at the Hampton Classic, and that was quite a large course, and so walking this course I felt much better about my confidence level. I felt like I could ride it, and I knew just what I needed to do. I didn't feel very nervous about the height or anything. My horse has been going very, very, very well all year, and so as far as seeing other horses go and not jumping clean, I felt very good that I could jump a clean round. I knew what she was going to do, and I knew what I needed to do in the course to jump a clean round. As far as going last, I'd much prefer to go early. I don't really like to wait around and watch and watch and watch and then have to perform. I'd much prefer to get it over with earlier, but it seemed to work out okay.
Well, congratulations, Peter, on your first major career victory. We'll send it back up to you, Jay.
And now the final results of the $30,000 American Cafe Columbia Classic Grand Prix. Peter Wild victorious this afternoon aboard Tootsie. In 2nd place, Tim Grubb aboard his nice horse, Ever. Lynn Little took the 3rd place prize home aboard Isis. Lori Jacobascus and Locked and Loaded in 4th. And Marianne Steyert and Talisman du Bohème in 5th. What an exciting afternoon of Grand Prix show jumping action. Oliver, your thoughts?
A great class, 4 changes of lead. You don't see that too often. And what a turnaround from last year. Lori Jacobascus, who had to withdraw in last year's competition in her Grand Prix debut, this year finishes 4th. And then Peter Wild, a fast horse, finally gets to have that first Grand Prix win of his career and over British Olympic veteran Tim Grubb.
Well, as Tim Grubb said earlier, anybody can win on any given day. I'd like to thank you all for joining us and thank those who helped volunteer for this very special event. Until next time, this is Jay Aaron with Oliver Kennedy saying so long.